as of what led up to it, I mean, far as the same person that he made a few complaints about, it's kind of shocking for the same woman to be pulling up without being told, that he got a warrant to arrest him. You know what I'm saying? Because he had warrants out. So he had complained about her before. Yeah, a few complaints. Yeah, but from ever since the situation, I'm hearing she hell, man, and she hell on black folks. All right, peace and blessings. All praises due to the Most High, and that is the nephew of Bobby Michael Dennis, who was recently captured for shooting a Jacksonville, Texas deputy. The woman that he was talking about, who allegedly was patrolling the area and noticed him. Now, mind you, as the nephew said, Mr. Dennis had several complaints about this woman, and a recent complaint had recently just been dismissed about that woman, and they have charges on him for obstruction and retaliation. Now, just watch this video that shows him being arrested after the 4-day manhunt, after the governor and other people put up a total of $40,000 to make this arrest. Now, just watch this video. It's used in fair use for literary and commentary purposes only. Just watch. People in Jacksonville are breathing a sigh of relief today after this 4-day manhunt came to an end last night with the arrest of Bobby Dennis. He now sits in the Smith County Jail with a $1.3 million bond. KETK's Ella Mitchell is here with reaction from the community as the town feels split by emotions. Ella.
Casey, the man accused of shooting a Jacksonville police officer and a K-9 appeared in court this morning after his capture. The arrest happened around 8:30 last night on County Road 3509, right off of Highway 175, west of Jacksonville city limits. Jacksonville PD says Dennis was found in a wooded area and surrendered to law enforcement without incident. Today, we were in town, and people tell me they are still frazzled from a suspenseful week. A local waitress telling me with the ongoing case and school cancellations, they had a total of 5 customers yesterday.
We were notified at 4 a.m. and then had to make accommodations and arrangements for that day. Yeah, it was very, it was a little bit of a hurdle. It was a challenge, but I personally got through it okay.
Dennis has been charged with attempted capital murder of a peace officer, interference with a police service animal, and 2 counts of obstruction or retaliation. The officer who was injured had an additional surgery Wednesday, and the chief of police says she is doing okay. The K-9 officer is also expected to recover. In studio, Ella.
All right, so there you have information about his capture. He was captured in the woods. The community was so distraught that they had to close school because of this mad gunman was on the loose. But you're going to hear the rest of that nephew's conversation, which paints a total different narrative, as well as the police chief. He himself is going to give some very integral information, albeit I don't think he knew what he was doing. But this shows that this officer, whom Bobby Michael Dennis had already filed several complaints about, showed up to his house in retaliation to those complaints that recently had been dismissed, no doubt by a racist judge. But if you don't know what happened, here's another news article giving you a little bit about what they are saying happened in this situation.
Police Chief Stephen Markowski said that the officer at that time was patrolling the 1100 block of Churchill Street when she saw Dennis, who had outstanding warrants in Cherokee County for obstruction and retaliation, standing outside of his home. According to Chief Markowski, the law enforcement had been looking for Dennis since early October. On yours and all right, so you heard the news reporter say a police officer who just happened to be patrolling by this man's house that they were looking for noticed
him from outside and saying they've been looking for him for about a month. This is the same woman, and they're not releasing the body cam footage. Watch how this police chief explained how he's not, or why he's not releasing the body cam footage. But this officer just happens to see this guy who's been complaining about her with no backup, no anybody, and just her and her dog. And then she ends up getting shot. We don't have any video footage. Now watch this police chief basically knowing what we know about this interaction already between the two. Now they're coming to arrest him for charges of retaliation. What kind of charge is that? Who are you retaliating against? They're trying to say for him complaining again about her, he's retaliating against her. Like, somebody tell me what the charge of retaliation means besides what I just described. But listen at this chief.
Y'all, you've got a few charges that he's being faced with.
Yes, sir.
You spoke to the district attorney's office. I mean, have y'all even had a chance to talk about like how this prosecution is going to look like on this?
Very little talk with the district attorney's office. They will be the ones prosecuting this, so there are things that we would like to avoid. For instance, the body camera video. For this to be prosecuted in Cherokee County, where I want it to be prosecuted at, that could hinder that, which is another reason the body camera hasn't been released. But also, out of respect of my officer, that video shows her running for her life while 20 rounds were being fired at her, approximately 20 rounds, with her back to the suspect, running away from him. My officer doesn't have to live through that while she is sitting in a hospital bed. That's my decision, and I understand that the community would probably like to see the video, but I can tell you, we didn't shoot at any citizen. We didn't do anything wrong. I don't have to make that social media content.
Yeah, I mean, talking about social media, I mean, there's been a lot of comments, but regarding the video, regarding how long this manhunt has taken, just kind of what would be your message to viewers now? Yeah,
so just as far as that goes, my job as a police chief is, one, to let the community be aware of what we're doing and let them know what's going on in our city. It is not my job to entertain misinformation on Facebook. I have not had time to be on Facebook, but obviously I hear what's going on. My job is to produce facts, which is what I've done this whole time. I respect opinions of others, and if they don't go along with the facts, there's nothing I can do. But I've provided you with facts since day one. The story hasn't changed. I had an officer that was shot. I had a manhunt for Bobby Dennis, and now I found him, and that is all in the press release. She was not there. She was not sent by anybody in my office to go serve a warrant. She was doing really good police work because she's a really good officer. She knew he had a warrant. She moseyed by the address. He was there. She got out because she's not a coward.
Have you told the officer that her shooter has been caught?
She was the first phone call I made.
Are y'all suspecting anybody helped them during this time that he was on the run?
Obviously, and I say that because I know he didn't run to the area that he was at. I assume he got picked up by a car. I won't go into details as to kind of how we tracked where he went and the hours and the time frame of what we tracked and what we knew, but he had help, and we will continue this investigation, and I promise you charges will come to anyone who hindered him that we find out about.
All right, so I'm gonna stop it right there because it gets into the emotional aspect. Well, I was the first one to call her. Now, what I do respect about that guy, though, he did say it ended the way we wanted it to end, without, officers getting hurt. And he mentioned, and for Mr. Dennis, his family, his safety as well. So I do respect them for that. Regardless of, the officer being shot, he did say that, it ended the way he wanted it to without, him getting hurt. But now, what he said was, we want to avoid the body cam video, so the officer doesn't have to live through that while sitting in the hospital. Like, watching it is easier than living through it, right? And so we're going to withhold that out of respect for the officer. Now, the body cam footage shows her running for her life after, 20 rounds fired at her. But what happened before then? That's what we want to know too. What happened before then? Are you mean to tell me Bobby Michael Dennis just hopped out and started shooting? I could beg to differ. Well, this lady is coming to arrest
him for retaliation against her for filing, complaints. And they haven't released her name. I was not able to, find that anywhere. If you guys have information about it, the nephew wasn't going to didn't have any information. And I want to let you hear the rest of that conversation. But the fact that he said, I've given you facts. An officer was shot. We had a manhunt and we got him. No, there's a lot more in between that because of this relationship they've had, that this man has put out numerous complaints against this officer. Now, later video, I'm going to show you his court appearance where he kind of lays out the fact that he's complained against these very same officers about this lady. And he's going to also make some more dissertations that I think are very relevant to the conversation. But that's for another video. Let you hear the rest of what Mr. Dennis's nephew has to say about his uncle.
But no, man, I really, to be honest with you, man, I know they've been harassing him. I don't really know in the details why they was harassing him. Cause like I say, I'm gone so much for work. But as of what led up to it, far as the same person that he made a few complaints about, it's kind of shocking for the same woman to be pulling up without being told that he got a warrant to arrest him. You know what I'm saying? Because he had warrants out.
So he had complained about her before?
Yeah, a few complaints.
Okay, because that's what I know they had an adjunctive relief that I just looked up. They said it was dismissed like earlier that week.
Mm-hmm. It was October or something. They said the end of like 22nd or something like that. It was dismissed.
Yeah.
And I just don't I just don't understand it. And looking at that they were saying that he had a warrant and they were going to pick him up, but then when they did that little, after they caught him, when they did that little, when they catching the police chief talking at the end, telling everybody he was talking about, she did it on her own. She was not told by anybody in the office, and I'm like, well, somebody's story ain't adding up.
So because I ain't even watched the press conference. They were like, Jacksonville police speak about the capture of him, and then they was like live with it. So you talking about when he was talking then?
Yeah.
All right. So basically, she was out there on her own.
On her own, and he pretty much clarified that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then they talking about they ain't showing the video camera to protect the officer. So that leads me to believe somebody else called me. He was like, she probably was doing something to him, but she might have sit the dog on him or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. So how long? So what they catch him? They caught him in the woods or somewhere?
Yeah. Right. Matter of fact, right down the highway from me, about 6 miles in the woods out there in CUNY, Texas.
Okay. And but the shooting happened at his house.
Yeah, right across the street from his house over there in where he lived at, probably about 100 yards from not even that. Yeah.
Okay. So you ain't talked to him since?
No, I haven't talked to him because like I say, I work in the oil field. I just got in Wednesday morning, so I seen him the last time I was home about 3 weeks ago and was talking to him there at the gas station, and he wasn't talking about that, but a police officer had passed through. He was talking about them, how they harass me. I said, what you mean? They be messing with you? He said, yeah, and he said he got a couple complaints on him, but nothing. He didn't really get into details. But then I started hearing from some other family members that about what the situation, what it was.
Okay. So they just being messing with him. So they got him. There's no bond.
No, they gave him his bond is at $1.3 million.
Okay.
then they said they had a federal hold, even if somebody paid the bond.
A federal hold, so they try to bring some federal charges on him.
Yeah, they charged. I don't understand it because they charged him with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, but then they charged him with some stuff I ain't never heard of. It was attempted capital murder.
Yeah, attempted capital. That's what they do when you shoot at police. They always say that's a capital murder. So what's the officer name? Cause they ain't releasing that.
I seen somebody put her name on there. She I never had no dealing with him. No deal with her. Mm-hmm. But from ever since the situation I'm hearing, she held, man, and she held on black folks.
Okay.
Yeah, she held on us.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I'm like I said, man. When I didn't even, you know what I'm saying, like when I went through a situation, you know what I'm saying, hey, Uncle Michael, he don't care who you is, he'll get the shirt off his back, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, to see this type of situation, it had to be, they had to really push him to the limit, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When you reach your breaking point, you know, Mike don't bother nobody.
Yeah,
nobody at all.
I believe. And the scripture says, surely oppression make a wise man mad. And that is what our nephew said. They had to push him to the limit because Uncle Mike don't mess with nobody. Now, he is being held right now under a $1.3 million bond, and they have a federal hold on. So they're probably going to try to give him some federal charges, charged with attempted capital murder, which, you know, carries a death penalty sentence. But, you know, I find it strange that this mysterious woman officer just shows up at his house only about a week after his complaint has been dismissed. He filed an injunctive relief, meaning, look, I need y'all to provide some relief from this person keep messing with me. And that was the police officer. Now, because it was dismissed, then they went and charged him with retaliation. And so evidently whatever happened, which they're not showing us, which leads a lot to be speculated about, Officer Starskowski, or whatever your name is, who has the best police department, leaves a lot to speculate on. So the things that we have seen on this channel in America in general, I just can't take your word for it. What did that officer do to cause this situation to transpire as it did? And you know, once again, well, he had a 9mm when he was caught, and it looked like he was building a bunker. Once again, trying to paint the narrative like this guy, you know, was so dangerous, you know. But you're going to see in the next video about this of him telling that same police officer or that police chief, look, man, I called you several times. I talked to you personally about this situation, and it didn't have to come to this. But y'all stay tuned for that video, and y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. You see the number 919-587-7782. Thank y'all for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. And as always, I pray you have peace and blessings. The scripture says all things that are hidden shall be revealed, and those things done in secret shall be exposed on the mountaintop.
Let's go, Rich. Let's go. You watching Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. Give you the truth before fake news go hudding it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Telehouse Publishing, breaking news coverage. The propaganda grammar, don't believe none of it. Before the jury decide and the judge discover it, you should tune in to Telehouse Publishing. Who keep the people informed with stories abroad from literary work where the narrative's wrong. The research is always on point, the commentary is hard. It's Rich Teller raising the bar. Follow along, shout out to FBA, still FTP, big up NFAC, and all my black families. There's three sides to all stories, which one you gon' believe? We run down on the false prophets when they come to deceive. 100% urban world news, current events. We don't like them lies. Media is biased, we got God beside us, ladies and just as power. If you don't know by now, look around, we the darkest hours. Cops squeeze the hammers, they don't understand us. We stop and freeze with our hands and kill us off like cancer. Don't speculate judge discover it. You should tune in to Telehouse Publishing.
Negroes have listened to the trickery and the lies and the false promises of the white man now for too long. And